In 1975, Hollywood rejected the same script hundreds of times. The writer was a broke actor with a speech impediment who'd been selling his dog for grocery money. Fast forward to today, that script became a $4 billion franchise, and that broke actor? He's worth $400 million and still punching heavy bags like he's got something to prove. This is the story of how Sylvester Stallone didn't just play an underdog, he lived it, wrote it, and turned it into the most American mythology since apple pie, except with more face-punching. July 6, 1946, Hell's Kitchen, New York. Sylvester "Encio" Stallone enters the world via forceps delivery gone wrong, leaving him with partial facial paralysis and a slurred speech pattern that would make casting directors wince for decades. His father, a hairdresser with anger management issues, bounced between jobs and marriages. His mother was an astrologer, who probably should have seen the divorce coming. By age 5, Little Sly was shuttling between foster homes like he was auditioning for a Dickens novel. But here's where it gets interesting. Instead of letting the speech thing define him, Stallone leaned into it. By his mid-20s, he was scribbling stories, screenplays, anything to prove that what came out of his mouth mattered more than how it sounded. He studied drama at the University of Miami, but didn't stick around long. Turns out, even in the 1960s, professors didn't appreciate students who thought they knew better than everyone else. By 1970, Stallone is back in New York, doing what every wannabe actor does, waiting tables, sleeping on subway benches, and showing up to auditions where casting directors take one look at his face and basically say, "Thanks, but we're looking for someone who can, speak clearly." The rejection letters pile up like parking tickets. Too ethnic. Speech problems. Doesn't photograph well. One casting director actually told him he'd never make it because he looked like a bum and sounded like a truck driver. Naturally, this motivated Stallone to prove everyone wrong by continuing to look like a bum and sound like a truck driver, but with more determination, and things only get worse. By 1975, New York City is broke, Stallone is broker, and the American dream is on life support. Our hero is sleeping in Port Authority bus terminal and selling his belongings to buy food, including, and this is important, his dog. Then comes March 24, 1975. Muhammad Ali versus Chuck Wepner, a nobody club fighter from New Jersey who somehow goes 15 rounds with the greatest boxer alive. Stallone watches this fight and has what can only be described as a divine intervention moment. He rushes back to whatever passes for his living situation and writes for 3.5 days straight. Doesn't sleep, barely eats, just pounds away on a typewriter like he's channeling the ghost of Ernest Hemingway, except with more boxing metaphors. The result? A 90-page screenplay about a small-time Philadelphia boxer who gets a shot at the heavyweight title. It's called Rocky, and it's basically Stallone's autobiography with more training montages. But here's where Stallone does something that separates him from every other struggling screenwriter in Hollywood history. He refuses to sell the script unless he can star in it. Think about this for a second. United Artists offers him $125,000 for the script. That's serious money in 1975, enough to buy a house, a car, and probably get his dog back. Stallone says no. They offer $250,000. No, $300,000. Still no. Finally, United Artists makes a deal. $35,000 for the script. Plus, Stallone gets to star. It's the worst negotiation in Hollywood history, except for the part where it launches one of the most successful franchises ever made. First thing he does? Buys Butkus back. Rocky gets made for $1 million in 28 days. The training montages become legendary. The Philadelphia Steps become a tourist destination. And Stallone's mumbling delivery becomes the voice of the American underdog. The movie makes $117 million worldwide and wins Best Picture at the Oscars. Stallone gets nominated for Best Actor and Best Original Screenplay the same night. Only Charlie Chaplin had done that before. But wait, there's more. Because apparently one Rocky movie wasn't enough, Stallone decides to turn this into a cottage industry. Rocky II, Rocky III, Rocky IV, which basically becomes a 2-hour music video about America defeating communism through the power of boxing. Then comes First Blood in 1982. The first film is a gritty PTSD drama about a Vietnam veteran. The sequels become increasingly over-the-top artillery showcases. By the mid-80s, Stallone is one of the biggest action stars on the planet. commanding $12 million per picture, competing with legend Arnold Schwarzenegger, and has somehow convinced the world that mumbling is a legitimate acting technique. But success in Hollywood is like a boxing match. Eventually, you take a hit. The late 80s and 90s bring a mixed bag. Flops like Stop or My Mom Will Shoot and Judge Dredd spark headlines declaring his career over. Yet he still scores big with Cliffhanger and Demolition Man, reminding anyone paying attention he can still deliver a blockbuster. With Copland, he gained weight, dropped the action hero persona, and surprised critics by proving he could deliver a compelling dramatic performance. Fast forward to 2010. Stallone is 64 and decides Hollywood needs more explosions. The Expendables becomes a nursing home for aging action stars, except everyone's still in incredible shape and can somehow handle military-grade weaponry. But the real comeback happens in 2015 with Creed. 40 years after writing Rocky, Stallone returns as Rocky the Mentor, wise, vulnerable, and deeply human. After years of riding the ups and downs of Hollywood, Creed reminded everyone why they originally fell in love with Stallone, not just as an action star, but as a storyteller of resilience and redemption. Critics call it his best work in decades. Oscar nomination, Golden Globe win. At 69, Stallone proved he wasn't just a guy who got lucky, he was a guy who understood something fundamental about storytelling and human resilience. In a town obsessed with overnight success, Stallone spent 50 years proving authenticity beats algorithm. The guy who couldn't get cast as an extra became the face of American determination. From homeless to Hollywood legend, Stallone became the living embodiment of his greatest character, a man who takes the hits, keeps moving forward, and proves every single time that heart beats talent. Subscribe for more stories about people who refuse to stay down.